Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather, bringing you the latest long-range forecast update for Sunday, December the 21st, 2014. It is a little after 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in the evening. We're sponsored tonight by Metal Magic in Washington. Give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless tint repair needs, and be sure to tell them that Southern Indiana Weather sent you. All right, we've got a lot to talk about in our update tonight, folks. Some very cold weather is on the way. There's still plenty of snow chances in there, but very complicated setup, which we'll talk about tonight. Let's go ahead, before we even get into what the latest model says as far as our snow chances this week, talk about the pattern at hand real quick and what we're going to see. All right, take a look at the Arctic Oscillation. Again, remember the Arctic Oscillation. This is cold air on the move. Here we are right now, and well, right now we're positive, but it's trending to the negative. And by Christmas Eve or so, that is going to start to be the case. This week, honestly, this is going to be the week of experiencing 2 or 3 seasons within 1 week. It's going to be a very up and down week, and once we get to the forecast, you'll see exactly what I mean by that. But by and large, once we get into the longer term pattern here is for cold air being on the move. The North Atlantic Oscillation also poised to go negative as well. Blocking pattern gives us a sustained colder pattern and sort of bottles those storms up, doesn't let them go out to the Atlantic Ocean, out to sea nearly as fast, and sort of keeps those storms slower in here, which gives us better chances to accumulate snow. That pattern is still on the way. Now, let's talk about really quickly what we can expect sort of in the longer term. We do have some snow chances this week, but I want to focus on what's going to come behind these snow chances before I get there. We're going to have an up and down ride before we get there, but eventually to open up in the beginning of January and end December, folks, it's going to get really cold. Here is what the upper air pattern is going to take a look at for New Year's Eve. And let me just show you a few of the features on this thing. First, notice that here is jet stream sort of whipping down through here right like this. All right, and actually just follow this line around, and we're looking at the northern hemisphere view. There is your jet stream. Well, notice exactly what you have. Notice this ridge right up in here. This is what we call a positive PNA. That is basically the huge ridge in the west causes a huge dip in the jet stream to the south, which in return you can see strongly the negative Arctic Oscillation here with that cold air being funneled in, and you'll see it even stronger whenever we take a look at the cross-polar flow that's going to be coming on, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Notice how amplified this ridge is, though. This ridge extends all the way up in here into the Arctic Circle, so that is not just a positive PNA, that's also a negative EPO, if you're familiar with that one, which is also very strongly conducive to an Arctic outbreak here for this. And then notice how the jet stream takes a dive up here. And folks, notice this big ridge of high pressure that you have over here. This is a negative NAO. That is a blocking high pressure out in the ocean, which that's what I'm talking about whenever I say a negative NAO. It blocks systems here that would happen to come into us. If we get a low pressure that tracks down in here from Alberta, Canada, it sort of forces it to go up like this. It won't let it just go out to sea as it might normally do, and so that slows things down and allows storms to accumulate. So that's kind of the pattern that we're setting up. Now, the great thing is this is a very much a snow lover's pattern. This is the kind of winter pattern that you really want, because all you have to do is just get a little bit of the southern branch of the jet stream coming through here and bringing any moisture at all, and that moisture can get sucked into it, and it is game on for winter storms. Now, that is not saying that we are going to have one. There is some chances in the modeling, but I'm just sort of showing you the overall picture here, the overall pattern. And folks, it's a complicated pattern, but it is one that is conducive to winter weather as we go throughout this time. Now, by the way, this is pictured for December the 31st, and notice this strongly tilted trough is going to pump down a lot of cold air into our way. If we just go over here and we take a look, by the way, and if I do this, I know all the boundaries disappear, so let me do this real quick. All right, here we are in Indiana right here, and this is 850 millibar temperatures, and folks, it's getting cold cold, certainly cold enough to snow. And as I rotate this to the north, what I want you to notice is this. Take a look at these cold temperatures. Over here, if I can actually get it to rotate some for me, what you have is Siberia, and notice the cross-polar flow going on over here from Siberia. There's your polar vortex right there, and your polar vortex is just essentially allowing cross-polar flow. I've talked about this in my winter outlook a couple of months ago, that if we got a very strong ridge that would extend up into Canada and go back down, it can promote that cross-polar flow going on. And of course, that cross-polar flow that aids in cold air intrusions coming down into the United States. That's something that we are going to have to work out. All right. Now, before we get there, we're going to have a battle on our hands this week. This week's going to be sort of the battle zone for what we can expect. So let me just sort of zoom in here to the United States, and let me kind of give you an idea of what we can expect. Let me turn what were current conditions here on, and let me just go down. Let's take the 500 heights off. This is just the current surface map, and let me just show you what you got. You get a low pressure just sort of right up in here. That's the first wave of what's going to go on. If I take that off and I put on the jet stream here, the mid-level jet stream, you notice you got this dip in the jet stream that's going down here. Let me take that off altogether and sort of turn my tools back on. I want to illustrate for you as best I can what the setup is, and as we go into the modeling, it'll help you understand, hopefully at least a little bit, as to why this setup is so stinking complicated. So you got a low pressure that's going on up here right now, and then let me just turn some blue on here and illustrate sort of the jet stream pattern. It's something, actually it's nothing like that. Yeah, boy, that was terrible jet stream. All right, so let's go down here, and it's more like that. All right, so that's sort of the jet stream pattern that we've got at hand. We've got this low pressure that's going on up here. Well, what's going to happen is this low is going to sort of track in a similar fashion like this. This low is going to meet up here around Wisconsin somewhere. Now, at the base of a trough like this, it's just sort of a natural thing that you eventually end up with what we call cyclogenesis. It is a new low pressure is spawned, and of course that low pressure, the models are taking it in a direction up towards us, and these two are going to become friends. Well, how good of friends, you ask? Well, they're going to marry each other, basically. This low here will eventually move up, and it'll sort of phase with this low, and whenever it phases with this low, then we get a monster bomb of a low pressure system up in here, and that will bring some very windy conditions to us, but that's also going to bring the chance of some accumulating snow as really cold air starts to dive down on us. But it will be short-lived, because right after that we've got another low that's going to be coming out of the Rockies and moving our way, that's actually going to warm our temperatures up before we get there to a little bit of snow potentially behind it. So as I said, just a very active weather pattern and a very complicated weather pattern. All three out of the 4 seasons could be felt this week. All right, let me show you what I mean by that. Let me go back into my maps here, and let's just talk about temperature-wise. Go out to the 16-day temperature spreads here from the GFS ensembles and just take a look at that. Man, excuse me. Getting up into the 50s for about 3 days. Now, this is kind of deceiving. I don't think we get into the 50s on Wednesday. I'm predicting into the 40s. Temperatures will actually start to fall a little bit there. But a couple of days of the 50s, but then it is all down here, hill towards there. And then take a look at this. There are some days that we won't even get out of the 20s as we get into the longer term pattern. So, again, wow. Very, very, very cold weather on our way. Now, cold weather on our way like this, but we're in sort of this transitional pattern this week, so is it any surprise to you that the models don't have a clue what's going on? Let me show you that. Here's what the European model says. Okay, so what you've got here is essentially this low. There it was. It's kind of come out of here, and you've got this other low that's come up here. Well, at this point, they've already married together, and you can see there is the 540 thickness line here. This would be the chance of some accumulating snow if the temperatures are right. Problem is, the European model never takes us below freezing on Wednesday night into Christmas morning. So that would allow anything that falls from the sky, and even though it would fall in the form of snow on Wednesday and Wednesday night, well, it wouldn't allow it to stick to the roads. So that would not be a good thing for snow lovers. GFS is a little bit of a different scenario. It does let us go near freezing, but you can see the precipitation totals here are a much lighter shade of green, very light totals. Canadian actually has a nice little dry slot in for us and just sort of rotates some snow showers around. You can also see the positioning of this low very different as you go within each of the models. It could be up here around the northern Ohio Great Lakes region, all the way to sort of a broader low up here closer towards Canada, to actually in Canada at the very top of Lake Michigan. So three model solutions and three very widely varying snow totals. Even if you look at snow maps, well, this is the high resolution GFS, the new GFS 13-kilometer upgrade, and it gives almost no snow for us here in southern Indiana. The lower resolution old GFS gives us a little bit of snow and creates sort of a mega snowstorm out here that its high resolution counterpart really just doesn't see unless you get up here very close to the Great Lakes in northern Indiana. I'm not even going to show you the European snow totals. It's not worth it, because even though it shows really a good 1 to 3 inches area wide, it won't matter because it won't stick. It'll all melt on contact because the European never gets us below freezing. And then if I were to show you the Canadian, which I also don't have pulled up, the Canadian gives us next to nothing. So model madness right now. All this just really to say, folks, we don't have a lock on the system right now. So what do I think will happen? Here's what I think happens with this. I think on Monday and Tuesday we're going to experience a couple of warmer than normal days around here. I think on Wednesday the cold front will finally move through, and the cold front will end up crashing our temperatures, at least slowly through the day. I do think we start to go to a rain-snow mix at some point in time on Wednesday. Very questionable on when that happens. Then by the time Wednesday night comes, I do think we go to sort of an all-snow shower type of setup. Accumulation in my mind is very questionable at this point. Do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Absolutely, I think it's possible. But it's also possible that we get the shaft and we don't get any accumulation with this at all. So both options are viable options that are on the table. Right now, I'm not seeing this as a mega snowstorm. Now, I know there may be some talk of saying, well, this is in the same position as what the 1978 blizzard was. And yeah, if you go back and you take a look at the historic charts and you take a look at some of what some of the runs of our models, it looks eerily similar to where the position and the shape and everything about the low was, except for temperature-wise. Our temperatures are way higher than what they were for that blizzard, and that will keep us mostly in the form of rain during this event. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, beyond this system, as I said, there will be other systems that will sort of move in there. If I just show you what the European model shows here, you can see that very clearly. Here's, by the way, that first low moving in. Watch a second low start to form down here. There it is. There's that cyclogenesis. And then you've got this low moving in. You've got this low here. And then just watch what happens as they sort of kiss and get married. And there it comes into sort of a little bit of a wind maker for us. Not as strong of a wind machine as it was earlier. This would be a 15 to 20 mile per hour wind at times possibly. But certainly not the 20, 30, or even 40 miles per hour winds that some of these models were showing earlier. It has backed off of that a little bit. So again, could it go back? Well, there's still a few days to go, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I do think that wind will be sort of a problem for us, at least, and it'll be breezy, let's put it that way. There we go, a little bit warmer though for Friday, according to this. And watch this new low, as I said, would come out of the Rockies over towards us, and it brings some light snow chances to us. Sort of a rain-snow mix, maybe. And then as that's gone, we have yet more waves that come in. Notice how deep these blue lines are. The rain-snow changeover line, well, down here towards Atlanta, for that matter. It puts the 522 decameter line through central Kentucky. The 516 is going through Indiana. That is cold, cold, cold weather. Temperatures won't get out of the 20s under this kind of a setup for sure, if it were to verify, folks. Very cold setup on the way. And then as you rotate through here, you see sort of the cold weather hangs around, and then watch this. Sort of a monster storm starts to develop, and so that by the time here that you get into around New Year's Eve. This is for 7 a.m. on New Year's Eve. The Euro predicting sort of a decent sized snowstorm type of a setup here. So, again, that's 240 hours out from this model run. So, there is absolutely no confidence, in my opinion, whatsoever that this will verify. But the pattern is there, as I showed you, with the negative EPO, the positive PNA, the negative NAO, the negative AO. We could look at a whole number of things that are pointing to the fact that we could get something like this. The modeling is showing that there's the potential for it there, but we can't say that anything is set in stone. All I can say is it fits the pattern, and it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on over in the coming days. But I've been keeping an eye on this particular one for Christmas over the coming days, and it's looked impressive, and then it doesn't look very impressive, and then it starts to look impressive again, and then it doesn't. And the models just go back and forth, and they just don't have a good handle on the system right now. But what I can tell you for sure over the coming days, folks, is that it looks like a very active pattern over the next few weeks. For us, it looks like a very cold pattern is starting to set up as we end the year. This week will sort of be a transition week, even more so than we originally thought last week, but it's looking like some very cold air is going to start to come down from Canada over us. I think there will be some chances for you snow lovers to get some accumulating snow, but folks, it's just going to take a little bit of time. All right, that's about the best I can do for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at your 10-day forecast. Go to southernindianaweather.com. You can also download our mobile app for Google Play or your iPhone devices. Just search southernindianaweather.com in your app store and you'll be able to get these as well. Going down to the low 30s tonight under a partly cloudy sky. Some rain chances move in. I would say only a 20 to 30% chance during at least through the morning and afternoon hours. It'll start to increase up to a 70% chance by the time the night comes. 52 for your high tomorrow, so not bad temperature-wise at all. Nearly steady temperatures, only down to about 48 by the time sunrise on Tuesday happens. Look at this. I'm even saying that there could be a rumble of thunder based on the way some of the models are saying for Tuesday. Will be cloudy. I don't think severe weather is any bit of a concern whatsoever, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a rumble or two of thunder. Some heavy rain looking likely with that. Breezy winds there as well. A cold rain then on Tuesday night. Wednesday, that will start to transition into a rain to snow shower, rain-snow mix during the day at some point, but we don't know exactly when that is. I think temperatures will fall slowly throughout the day. That night, we're going down to near the freezing mark, maybe even a little bit below freezing, but there's some very strong questions. So again, is there some snow accumulation? I'm pretty confident that we'll see some snow showers. I believe that's something that we're going to see, but accumulation, well, that's got a question mark at this point, and again, it depends on how far down. Do we go to freezing at all? Do we go below it? Lots of questions right now, but it's going to be breezy and it's going to be a nasty mess. That's what I can say. Christmas Day, not looking too bad. We're on the rebound again. A few clouds, but we're going up to the mid 40s. Look at that. More showers coming in on Friday. Maybe it turns to some snow showers late. After that, the cold really starts to take hold of us then for next weekend, and you can really see that as we start to even go as far as the extended outlook goes with temperatures into the teens at night as that trough really starts to dig down on us. 28 for your high on next Tuesday, a week from this Tuesday, the 10th day here in the forecast, and maybe some snow showers. And so again, that next storm system around New Year's Eve starts to come into play. Could it lead to some snow? Could it not? Lots of questions with that, but we will keep an eye on it and, of course, let you know, folks. All right, that is it for this edition of the latest long-range update. Sorry for it being so long tonight. Lots to talk about, folks, with pattern at hand. I'll have another one of these for you later in the week. I will keep you updated, of course, daily with all of the changes in the modeling, folks. But as of right now, I would say it doesn't look like a major storm moving in, but snow lovers, just keep your fingers crossed. Maybe something will change. All right, that's it for tonight. See you next time.